What's up, guys? So today we have a question from Wack Mane. Wack Mane? Wack Man? I don't know. Sorry about that. I just totally butchered your name. How did you get into hacking? And do you think that college is necessary to become a lead hacker? I got into hacking by, wanting revenge on someone, and trying to learn about hacking by going to a site called Hack This Site and trying it out. And I sucked. I couldn't even do the first mission. It's like super simple too. It's basically just like the first mission is finding a password on a web page. But like you have to right click on it and you have to go to view source and you have to go through the HTML and that's how you find it. And like I might not have been able to figure it out, but one thing I can do is I can bypass things. So it's like I might not be able to pick a, commercial grade Medico lock, but I don't need to if I can bypass the locking mechanism. And like my methodology as a hacker is kind of that. Every hacker you meet is going to be completely different because they're all artists. And some people say they're scientists. I'm a scientist in a couple of different fields, but I like to say that it's an art form. It involves science, but I like to say it's an art form because you can break into a system a million different ways. It all depends on how you do it. Like for me personally, I like to just ask for the keys. I find social engineering by far the easiest way to exploit the system is through the human weakness. That chain is always, you're always going to find someone who's willing to plug in a flash drive or, lets you walk in behind them. Really it's, so anyways, to answer your question, how did I get into it? So I couldn't find the answer, right, for that hack this site, thing. So I ended up hopping on YouTube, big shock. And I found a channel called cwade12c. And this guy had, a bunch of tutorials, laid out, for this site. And I read a bunch of them, and this is back, I want to say YouTube had messaging functionality back then, like DMs. And I wrote him because like I watched it, I did a bunch of them. And I wrote him and I thanked him for making the content that he made. And he wrote me back and he said, "Oh yeah, that's cool, man. Like I have a site." I think at the time he had a couple of them, but at the time it was Exploit Nation, and he invited me there and he said, "Hey, like you're more than welcome, come and, make some posts." So like I went there, I read a lot. After my first week there, I ended up making like 400 posts. And like it was in a weekend and he was really amazed that I contributed this much content, that quickly. And, said, "Listen, man, like I'll make you a moderator." I was like, "I don't know anything about being a moderator, dude." He's like, "Oh, it's just make sure people, follow the rules of the site, blah, blah, blah. They'll show equal respect to each other, blah, blah, blah." And with that, really my work on websites as a staff member that's when that really started. Yeah, so cwade12c, I've known him now probably about 15 years, probably closer to 15 years than 10. I've never met him in real life, but I full-heartedly consider him a brother. I would do anything for him. He is one of my best friends in this world. And he's one of the most knowledgeable, intelligent, caring, he's an amazing person. Really is one of the best people I personally know. Which says a lot because every 3 years I look at who's in my life and I reevaluate if I should keep them in there. Are they making a positive change or a negative change? And if they're making a negative change, I cut them out of my life. So I'll change my phone number, I'll move, and only the people that I deem worthy stay in my life because it's my life. I get to control that. And there's very, very few people who have made the cut. And I don't think anyone aside from him that has survived that long. And he always will. Because I don't even evaluate him anymore. He's on family status, you know? That's the thing. Like, you're either an associate or your family with me. Like, there's not really a gray line between that, you know? And like, I'm sure like there are people watching, you know, my content that we go back and forth that eventually, you know, I hope like that might be the case with someone else who has the same values and, you know, perception of the world, and you know, their reality matches mine. But cwade12c, amazing dude. Actually, this site right here, haxme.org, is his website. That's what Exploit Nation became. Changed brands a couple times, just because he changed the URL a couple times. But you know, you can hop on there. They have a Discord, and you might catch him. He also has a YouTube video, just cwade12c, which will be coming back online. It's been kind of dormant. It's been around for forever, but it's been kind of dormant for a while. But like, I talked to him, and he wants to reboot that. So I'll be linking to that on you know, this channel, because he had some really amazing content. He's an amazing person. So that's how I got into it. And you know, his forums. And so as far as your question about requiring college to be a leet hacker, absolutely not. I think it's horrible for that, honestly. Hacking is a lot about innovation, and you know, coming up with solutions on your own. And I think institutionalized learning is not meant to encourage free thinkers. I think it exists to encourage conformity. Like, you look at some of the best people who are in leadership roles, right? The people who, like your senators or your doctors or lawyers, or you know, any of those people, you know, the people who have power. Those people in school, 9 times out of 10, did extremely well. And it's not necessarily a measure of intelligence, but a measure of how good is an individual at taking in what we tell him is truth and then regurgitating that upon command on a test. Can you repeat back to me what I told you is true when I tell you to do it, and like I tell you to do it? And if you can, yes, you know, great. And then you pass the test. The better of a conformist you are, the higher your score is. And I'm not saying like there's no intelligence involved in it, because I know, you know, that's not true. I'm just saying like my view on it is kind of that it's more about conformity and programming than anything else. Like encouraging free thinking, and absolutely you need to have that ability as a hacker. You need to be adaptable. You need to be able to think outside of the box. And if you're taught that this is the box and this is, you know, the only box you stay in, you're not going to have that. I find that a lot of the teachers that are there, you know, they're the age-old saying that those they can't do teach. And you know, that's not true with all teachers. But the ones I've had personally, I found that to be pretty true. So I think experience is by far the best. I think, you know, if you want to really have some experience nowadays, instead of like hack the site, it's VulnHub, you know, VULNHUB. You Google that and you grab a virtual machine, you know, load up Kali Linux on the side and your, you know, VulnHub VM that you downloaded on this side, and attack and own it. Don't know how to do it? Look up a tutorial on it. Follow a couple different tutorials, hacking and attacking these systems, And through osmosis, you will start to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And through osmosis, you will learn about about the tools and how to use them, and what they do. And you'll come up against problems and you'll have to solve those problems. You can do that through Google, but like you'll actively be doing it. You know, this isn't going to be theoretical. It's going to be virtual, and it's going to be legal, because it's your own computer that you're doing this on. But like, you know, at the end of the day, you're getting real world experience. And I think that's what matters. You know, not being able to regurgitate, you know, crap on a test, or like, you know, memorize, you know, an ASCII chart or some nonsense like that. You know, I think being able to think outside the box, and like that right there would be an amazing education. There's also certifications. Like if I was going to say education is mandatory, it damn sure wouldn't be a diploma. It would be certifications. You know, you go on to like offensive security, you go get some of those certs, you know, like you will learn infinitely more from them, I think, than any college. So I hope that answered your question. And if you guys like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video.